Do you like to use die cuts on your cards? And would you like some ideas on how to use them repeatedly on different designs? Stay with me. This is the die set I'm using today. If you in Europe, you can buy from Craftelier, and it should be about 11 years. And I'll show you a few suggestions of options if you want to use something else or if you live somewhere else around the world. Recently, Concord and Ninth released a die set that is similar. I don't know about the size. I don't own any of the products that I'm going to suggest other than this one. These are my three suggestions. The first one is a die set that you can make citrus fruits. And there's also a stencil set and a stamp set. The stencil is from Waffle Flower, and the stamp set is from Altenew. So if you don't like to use die cuts, you could use the stencil or the stamp set instead. I die cut the pieces that I need for the watermelon. I die cut it off out of white cardstock. I am going to ink blend the red piece. What would be the red piece? Using my ink pads and my blending brushes. I find it way easier to die cut everything out of white and then add color to it than die cut it out of colored cardstock, because in this case it wouldn't be such a big deal because I did make loads of them, but sometimes I am gonna make like only one and I don't want to die cut like a full sheet of paper because of one die cut, if that makes sense. So that usually saves me time. And it is very quick to add color to them by ink blending. So I am using the same brush and I added the lighter layer of color first. And then I'm just using the tip of my brush, adding that darker color, and I'm just pouncing. Because Chinak's inks kind of get like smoother after they dry, you can just pounce the darker color, and once it dries, it dries. They blend into each other. I think that's what I'm trying to say, without you having to ink blend them. Now I'm just using a green Copic marker to color my border. Again, that will save me a lot of green cardstock. Greens and reds are the colors of cardstock that I personally use the most because of Christmas. So I do try to save it as much as I can, and using Copic colors or ink blending usually saves me a lot of it. So here are the three pieces, and I'm just gonna color those seeds, and those seeds are die cut out of the red panel. They're not a separate die cut, if that makes sense. So I have to color them individually. I am showing you only one here on screen, but I made several others off screen, and I'll show you all the other ones in a minute. I tried to wipe my mat, but it wasn't coming off because the marker had dried already, so I just sprayed a little bit of alcohol, rubbing alcohol, and that took care of it. Now I'm gonna glue those layers together, and I am going to bring those markers back. I have a red and a green one that are separated, and I am just gonna make sure to color the edges. I won't do it for all of them all the time because I am gonna cut the excess of my panels of my cards later, but I am trying to cover as much as I can before, because this one you can clearly see the white. I did try to color the front. These are the two Copic markers that I use for the reds and greens, and I did use the green before, but coming back with that red one and just covering the area that would be the red. That would be the sweet part of the watermelon. I just want to take a second to thank you all who subscribed in the past 1 or 2 weeks. I am still in shock of the support and interest that you guys have shown. and I feel so thankful and I'm so happy. You have no idea. I still can't believe it. I think I'm a bit in shock. But thank you for sticking around. And if you're watching this and you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so. I do try to post videos every week and show you different ideas. And if you like this format where I suggest substitutions or alternatives for certain products, let me know and I'll try to do a bit of research before I do it. I do encourage everybody who watches my videos to try and use whatever they have in their own stash. So for this one, I am using watermelons because watermelons have been in my mind lately. I am also using die cuts because I prefer to die cut than stamp or do anything else. But you do you. Um, Stencils are actually way quicker stamping as well. The stencils are actually a cheaper option, so do whatever works for you. But I have used other dies, and the set allows for you to make several different other fruit, and feel free to use those as well. They make your cards way more colorful and vibrant as well. I will show you a different one that I used months ago at the end of the video, and it will give you a different idea. So for each one of my cards, the sentiments I die cut 4 times, 3 times out of whatever the color is in the background. So for this one, it's gonna be black. For my second card, it's going to be white, and once out of gold mirrored cardstock. And I just glued them together off camera. Now I'm sticking them down onto my background. And this one, to make it fit as a sentence, I had to do it diagonally. And it was the exact space, I think. And it worked, I think. And I will just glue the watermelon slices. I cut some of them because the die cuts are very big, like they're 3 inches in the width. So I did cut them smaller, and I am going to use only the smaller pieces in this one. Some of them I die cut one slice into halves and some of them into 3 parts. I will use the two different sizes, the different fractions on this card. Now I am just trimming down the excess that is going past the borders. I am using a pair of scissors to do that because the die cuts were like 3 pieces tall, I guess. It's very thick cardstock, so it would be hard for my paper trimmer to go through them. So this is my second card. I just put the pieces down. For this one, I am using all 3 different sizes that I had before, the whole die cuts and the fractions. You could actually merge 2 die cuts here and do a whole circle of watermelons as well. I didn't think about it before, but now that I'm looking at it, it's crossing my mind. And I just spread them kind of randomly. Try to leave just a small space in between them, but to cover as much of the surface of the front card that I could. Again, I'm going to trim down the excess and add a sentiment to it. The sentiment I prepared before, it's 1 layer of gold mirrored cardstock and 2 layers of the white actually, and 1 layer of the white backing. So it is still 4 layers thick, but this one I am using the backing because I thought the sentiment would get a bit lost against the background, the BZ background on its own, and the backing kind of separates it a little. I thought about adding other stuff, gems and whatnot, but in the end I thought it didn't need it. And then because I had so many die cuts, I had a few left and I decided to add them to the inside of my card. I do that often and I don't always show it on my videos or on my pictures. But if I have leftover die cuts when the cards are ready, I try to add them to the inside of the card or to my envelopes, and that way it all ties in these are the two cards that I made today. And this is the one that I made months ago, and I used lemons, limes, and oranges. You just change the color and you change the fruit. And I hope you liked my ideas. Have fun. Happy crafting.